Hello. So second part of the video here. So the next steps to do now is to actually set up the Blendshape solve, and then hopefully set up the character so they can receive it for the ferret. I'm going to open the file that's already done. This is the Claire solve ARKit. It will be part of the examples in Audio2Face, and I'll just open this one. Double click that, and yeah, so this is the character. We should have Audio2Face and Audio2Face tool that if I scrub, you see that the face is moving there, because all the nodes are already set up there. The other thing is that we need to now the ferret character to be in here. I'm going to try find and import it here, and let's see, ferret. And I find the ferret scene. I'll just use the ferret configurable here. But basically, we just drag. I try to not use the model directly because I believe this one doesn't have the material assigned. So I'm going to try use this one instead. So ferret configurable. Hopefully, it has all the materials, which is great, and we can see that it has it there. And it's a bit heavy. The render on this character with the cart's fur is pretty slow. So I'm going to, for now, I'm going to hide hide the outfit, or at least hide the fur here, so that I'll just keep the fur on the face and the head there, right? So far that's good. As previously mentioned, what we want is that we want the Audio2Face Claire Blendshape setup to just pipe the output directly to this character. Now, this character just so happen highlight. It has another issue that is there is no. If I select the skeleton, I don't see any of the animation source being applied. So if I go expand here, I see there is the scale animation clip, but it's not being used in any of it, not in on the scale root. There's no animation source nor the skeleton here. All right. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to right click on the skeleton. I'm going to first make the attribute available. So I believe I can just go right click here on the skeleton. You'll see that we have options to add, and then there is animation, and you just choose skeleton animation. When we do that, we should have now a bunch of extra relationships that we can set. The one that we're interested in here is the scale animation source. In theory, we can now set to this anim, and it should work. So let's try it out. So I'll go and actually go and animation source. Oh, you can do it from top here. So add, and I'll choose this one. Like, of course, right now there is nothing. So nothing playing. When I play it here, it's actually Claire head that is being hidden somewhere. Let me try to bring it to scene. Claire Blendshape. Oh, there. Right, it's super tiny. But we can see that Claire's face is right now moving. This character is not yet, because Claire's one, the shapes are being solved on this one. So this Blendshape anim has the Blendshape weights controlled by Audio2Face. We cannot have this character, this skeleton, to point the source to point to this Blendshape anim directly, because the Blendshapes don't share the same name. The name in this case is for each mesh. We should see there is I believe, if I can find it. Yeah. So the way it works is that for each mesh, there is a relationship that points to all the nested blend shapes here, right? That's for this mesh. And then there is a list of names of what USD scale will call that blend shape. And so there is always the target, which is a relationship of individual shapes, and it comes also with the blend shapes. And this is a list of string, and this is the name. And just so happen these two characters don't use the same list of string. As I in previous video mentioned, one has the preset prefix, and the other one is just the shape name directly. So, which is fine. We can still, what we can do is that we just use the value, because the values are all correct, they're the same ordered array, and we're going to set that value to this one as well, the same way of A to F set to this Blendshape anim. So we're going to open the OmniGraph right now. So go here, Audio2Face, right click and choose Open Graph. And this will open the generic graph. And this is currently how the, we'll see, this is how the Blendshape solve is being set up in Audio2Face in this blue head here. We have the Blendshape solve node being piped to a right prim attribute that is pointing to the Blendshape anim here, right? So what we're going to do is that we're going to write the same attribute to this scale animation as well. So I'll go drag this in. I'm going to say right attribute, which will create the right attribute node of that prim, and I'm going to select the attribute name Blendshape weights. And in theory, we can just pipe the Blendshape solve output to the value as well, like this one. But I'm not going to use this directly. Instead, I'm going to use the float array tuner, just because this node has additional multiplier and offset that we can control, just in case it works better. You know, so sometimes if we need to make adjust some values, it's easier if we use the array tuner here. So instead of solve directly, I'm going to use the array tuner value as the values of the attribute. And at this point, we can see if it works. If I scrub the audio, now the face is moving, right? So that is great. But we are still missing the fur. The fur, as I'm in the previous video, showed that this fur that comes with the skeleton directly doesn't have the blend shapes. So we cannot use it. Instead, we exported another mesh or another USD scale that contains the fur with the blend shapes. And I'm going to try find it in the content. It should be in the same folder as where I saved this file, which I should have bookmarked it first, but I didn't. So yeah, so we should have the head fur USD scale here. And I'm going to drag this head fur USD scale into my scene, which looks like it's missing. It is because it is somewhere in the scene, but in a different space. So what happened here is that if I try to find the mesh, this mesh, it is here, and it is very tiny in comparison to the actual character, that one. So most likely what happens is that the skeleton of this character has been rotated and scaled to this pose, but not from the bind, while the bind geometry is actually on the how to call it, in a different space. So that's okay for now. What I'm going to do is I'm just try to match this by rotating the scale root of this head fur, and I'll rotate it. I believe there is -90, and then the scale is 100 times bigger to hopefully get it in position. There we go. So the fur is there. If I select this, you can see we have it with the blend shapes, but we are missing the material. The material on the original one is assigned to not to the object directly, but to the geom subset. So I'm going to have to reassign them back. So first small, if I try to find drop down, it should be first strand small. I'm just gonna match it by name. These are the look from the original one. So what is this? Large. And last one is the tiny. So there we go. We should have the fur. I don't know if I missed any settings or not, but let's just assume it's good. Of course, now the fur is there, but it's not moving yet. So what we're going to do now, we're just going to apply the animation on the skeleton here. This one already have the animation source but it's a static one here. So what we're going to do is just because this fur shares the same name of blend shapes as as this one, I can simply tell the skeleton to use the animation source, close this, and use the one from the ferret configurable, because this one already have the A to F connected as well. So this should be it. At this time, I should be able to scrub, and the fur is moving with it, as you can see there. It looks like there's another row of fur here that potentially works better. How do we call it? It probably is so close to the lips that it's rotating too much when the lips is moving. So when we're applying prox on the previous step, we may consider not picking up the rotation. It may look better without rotation, but for now we'll have to live with it. So yeah, so that is the fur. So it's all should be good. If I try play this, yeah, so it's all good except notice that the blink is not 100%, right? It's blink there, probably the maximum I can tell. Oh, there. This blink looks like on this character is almost full, but this one is not. And this potentially is caused by our face tuner. Let's see if we can find anything with the eye blink. It is set to 1, but for some reason the one here doesn't quite match. So we probably need a lot higher strength for this. So I'm going to try to increase the gain to something there. And this is one of the reasons why we should use the face tuner as the output, because now we can adjust all this remap these values easily. And the other one is the eye blink, right? Here I'll just match the same value, 3.3. Oh, maybe that's too far. Okay, maybe not 3.3. Let's try 3. All right, good enough. So 3. So now if I play the audio again, there we go. So I'll save the scene, and that's it. So we pretty much have Audio2Face. In this case, we are still using the local Audio2Face to drive this character. But if we have Ace, for example, in the future, that Ace drive Blendshape's coefficient directly, we can set up so that we don't even calculate Audio2Face at all locally, and we just stream the Blendshape coefficient to to this character, and it should all work. Thank you.